She said it on a Tuesday. We were standing in the kitchen, her scrolling through her phone while I made coffee, and Emily dropped it like she was commenting on the weather. You know marriage doesn't mean you're my top priority, right? I have other important things. I stopped mid-pour. The coffee machine hissed behind me. Excuse me? She didn't even look up. I'm just being honest, Tom. My career, my friends, my fitness goals. Marriage is just one part of my life, not the center of it. I set the pot down carefully. That's an interesting perspective. I'm glad you understand. She smiled then, still not meeting my eyes. Some husbands would make this a whole thing. Yeah, I said, some would. I smiled back. She never noticed it didn't reach my eyes. That conversation happened 5 years into our marriage. I was 37, managing a warehouse distribution center. Emily was 34, working in corporate event planning. She made decent money. I made decent money. Together we were comfortable, suburban, forgettable. Except Emily didn't want to be forgettable anymore. The signs had been there for months. New gym membership, new wardrobe, constantly on her phone, angling it away when I walked past. Coming home later, leaving earlier. The usual script everyone recognizes but pretends not to see. I'd been pretending pretty well myself. After her little priority speech, I went to work like normal. Drove my 10-year-old truck to the warehouse, managed inventory, dealt with shipping delays. My assistant manager, Dave, noticed something. You look weird, he said, leaning against my office door frame. Weird how? Like you just realized something. Maybe I did. He waited, but I didn't elaborate. Dave was good people, but this wasn't warehouse talk. This was the kind of thing that spreads like oil on water, and I wasn't ready for that yet. I spent my lunch break in my truck making calls, first to my insurance company. I'd like to update my life insurance beneficiary, I told the agent. Sure thing. Who's the new beneficiary? My sister, Claire. I'll email you her information. And removing your wife? That's correct. Any particular reason? Sometimes there are tax implications. Personal choice, I said. We can discuss taxes later. Second call was to my bank. I set up a separate account, started redirecting my direct deposit. Not all of it, just enough. Emily never looked at our statements anyway. She assumed the money just appeared like magic. Third call was to a lawyer. Just a consultation, feeling things out. When I got home that evening, Emily was in the living room with 2 of her friends, Jessica and Trish. They went quiet when I walked in, then resumed talking in that obvious way people do when they'd just been discussing you. Hey, Tom, Jessica said with a smirk. Evening. I grabbed a drink from the fridge and headed upstairs. As I climbed, I heard Trish's voice, not quite whispered enough. At least he knows his place. Laughter followed. Emily's was the loudest. I stood at the top of the stairs for a moment, that laugh echoing in my head. Then I went to my office, the spare bedroom I'd converted, and started looking through our finances properly. We owned the house jointly. 2 cars, 1 in each name. Credit cards, utilities, subscriptions. The usual modern marriage tangle. Emily's car was financed through an account I'd co-signed. Her credit cards were attached to our joint accounts. Her gym membership, her shopping, her lunches with friends, all running through money I helped earn. I started taking notes. Over the next 2 weeks, I became a ghost in my own house. Not dramatically, not obviously. I just stopped being present, stopped asking about her day, stopped attending her work events. When she asked why I wasn't coming to her company dinner, I smiled. You said marriage isn't your top priority. I figured your husband showing up isn't either. She blinked. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? She didn't have an answer ready. She'd said it casually, expecting me to absorb it and move on like always. Now I was asking her to explain herself, and she didn't like it. You're being difficult, she finally said. No, I'm being clear. You have priorities. So do I. Mine just shifted recently. To what? To things that matter, I said, and walked away. The first real crack appeared 3 weeks after her priority speech. I came home early, around 4 in the afternoon. There was a black Audi in our driveway. New model, expensive, not a car I recognized. I parked on the street and walked up quietly. The front door was locked, but I could hear voices inside. Laughter. Emily's voice, higher pitched than usual, flirty. I used my key slowly, opening the door just enough. They were in the living room. Emily and a man I'd never seen before. Tall, athletic build, styled hair, wearing gym clothes that probably cost more than my weekly grocery bill. They were sitting close on the couch, her hand on his arm. I let the door close with a click. They both jumped. Emily's face went through several expressions in quick succession. Surprise, fear, defiance, annoyance. "Tom," she said, "you're home early." "Apparently." I looked at the man. "Hi." "Hey." He stood, confident, extended his hand. "Brent, I'm Emily's personal trainer." "Personal trainer?" I didn't take his hand. "Interesting. I didn't know we were paying for that." "It's through my wellness stipend at work," Emily said quickly. "Your wellness stipend," I nodded. "And the house calls are part of the package?" Brent smiled. It was the smile of a man who thought he was in control. "I do private sessions for select clients. Emily's been making great progress." "I can see that." I looked at Emily. "Your priorities are really paying off." Her eyes narrowed. She knew that tone. Brent was just leaving. Was I? Brent looked between us, sensing something but not quite getting it. "You were," I said. "Nice. Howdy, by the way. Business must be good?" "Can't complain." He grabbed his gym bag. "I'll text you about Thursday," he told Emily. After he left, Emily stood with her arms crossed. "That was rude." "Was it?" "He's helping me get healthy." "Right." I walked past her to the kitchen. "How long?" "How long what?" "How long has your personal trainer been coming to our house?" "A few weeks. Why does it matter?" I turned to face her. "It doesn't. Just curious about your schedule. You know, since I'm not on the priority list." "Oh my God." She threw up her hands. "Are you really still on that?" I explained what I meant. "You did, very clearly." I opened the fridge, grabbed leftovers. "I'm just operating accordingly." She stared at me for a long moment, trying to read something in my face, but I'd gotten good at the neutral expression. Warehouse management teaches you that. Never let them see you react. "Fine," she finally said. "Be like that." She went upstairs. I heard our bedroom door close, then the shower running. I sat at the kitchen table and ate cold pasta directly from the container, thinking about Brent's expensive car and Emily's new priorities. My phone buzzed. A text from Dave. "Drinks Friday? You look like you need one." I typed back, "Yeah, I'll explain then." The next morning, I left for work before Emily woke up. That afternoon, I swung by our insurance agent's office to sign the final paperwork removing her as beneficiary. The agent, an older guy named Phil, studied me over his glasses. "You sure about this, Tom? Big change." "Very sure." "Marriage trouble." "You could say that." He nodded slowly. "Seen it before. Just make sure you're not doing something you'll regret." "Oh, I won't regret this," I said. "I can promise you that." That Friday, I met Dave at Hennessy's, a bar near the warehouse. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, dim lighting and sports on TV, and absolutely no pretense. Dave ordered us both whiskey. "All right, talk," I told him. Not everything, but enough. The priority speech. The trainer. The feeling of being systematically erased from my own marriage. "Man," Dave said when I finished, "that's cold." "Yeah." "You think she's cheating?" "I think she's working up to it, or already there and hiding it poorly." "What are you going to do?" I swirled my drink. "I'm going to let her think she's winning." "That's cryptic." "She wants me invisible? Fine. I'll be invisible. But invisible people see everything," Dave grinned. I like the sound of that. We had 3 more rounds. By the time I got home, it was almost midnight. The house was dark except for the upstairs bedroom light. I found Emily asleep, her phone on the nightstand, charging. I stood there for a moment, watching her. She looked peaceful, innocent, like she wasn't slowly dismantling our marriage while I watched. I went back downstairs, pulled out my laptop, and started documenting everything. Dates, times, behaviors, the trainer's visits, her, changed patterns. It wasn't much yet, but it was a start. 3 days later, Emily announced she was going to a work conference in the city. Overnight trip. She'd be back Tuesday. "Okay," I said. She paused, like she'd expected resistance. "That's it? Just okay?" "What do you want me to say?" "I don't know. Most husbands would ask questions." "I'm not most husbands," I said. "Remember? I'm the one who's not a priority." Her jaw tightened. "Right." She left Monday morning. I waited until her car disappeared around the corner, then made a call to Jessica. Emily's friend, the one who'd made the comment about me knowing my place. "Hey, Jessica," I said when she answered. "It's Tom, Emily's husband." "Oh, hi. Quick question. Emily mentioned you might know the hotel she's staying at for her conference. I wanted to send flowers." There was a long pause. Too long. "I'm not sure she told me which hotel," Jessica said carefully. "That's weird. She said you two talked about it." "Did she?" Another pause. "You know, Tom, maybe you should just call her." "Good idea." I let silence hang for a beat. Thanks anyway. I hung up. Jessica's hesitation told me everything I needed to know. Emily's friends were covering for her, which meant there was something to cover. I called Dave. I need a favor. Name it. You still talk to your buddy who works hotel security downtown? Yeah, Tony. Why? I need to know if my wife checked into any hotels Monday night. Her name's Emily Wright. Dave whistled. You serious? Completely. All right. Give me an hour. 45 minutes later, Dave called back. The Grandview on 5th. Checked in at 2:30. Room registered to her name and one guest. Guest's name? Brent Patterson. There it was. Confirmed. My wife was at a hotel downtown with her personal trainer, and everyone in her social circle apparently knew about it except me. I sat in my truck outside the warehouse, staring at nothing. Part of me wanted to drive downtown right then, kick in the hotel room door, make a scene. But that's what people expect. That's the script. Betrayed husband loses his mind, does something stupid, ends up looking like the villain. I wasn't following that script. Instead, I drove to my sister Claire's house. She lived 20 minutes away, divorced 3 years ago, raising 2 kids alone. She understood the feeling of being underestimated. Tom? She opened the door, surprised. What's wrong? Can I come in? Of course. I sat at her kitchen table and told her everything. She listened without interrupting, her expression growing harder with each detail. That absolute witch, she finally said. Yeah. What are you going to do? I'm going to handle it, but I need your help. Anything. I already changed my life insurance beneficiary to you. If Emily asks, and she will eventually, tell her I wanted to make sure my nieces were covered. Claire nodded slowly. You're cutting her off. Piece by piece. The insurance was first. Next is the joint accounts, but I need to be smart about it. Legal. You've talked to a lawyer? Consultation. Getting a full appointment this week. My sister reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Good. She doesn't deserve you. She told me I wasn't her priority. Then show her what that actually means. I left Claire's house feeling clearer. The next morning, Tuesday, Emily came home around noon. She looked tired but satisfied, wearing sunglasses even though it was overcast. How was the conference? I asked, not looking up from my breakfast. Good. Productive. She set down her overnight bag. Made some good contacts. I'm sure you did. Something in my tone made her pause. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, just agreeing with you. She studied me for a moment, then shook her head. I'm going to shower. While she was upstairs, I went through her bag. Receipts from room service, hotel keycard, conference materials that looked untouched, and a note, handwritten on hotel stationery, folded small. I opened it. Last night was perfect. Your husband has no idea what he's missing. Can't wait for next time. B. I took a photo of the note with my phone, then folded it exactly as I'd found it and put everything back. Emily came down 30 minutes later, hair wet, looking refreshed. I'm meeting Trish for lunch, she said. I'll be back around 4. Have fun. After she left, I forwarded the photo to my personal email, then texted Dave. Got evidence? Need to figure out next steps? His response was immediate. Hell yes. Burn her world down. But I wasn't interested in burning anything down yet. I was interested in dismantling it, brick by brick, until she was standing in rubble, wondering what happened. The lawyer's name was Karen Mitchell, recommended by a divorced coworker. Her office was in a strip mall, sandwiched between a tax place and a nail salon, but inside it was professional and surprisingly comfortable. Tell me everything, she said after the preliminaries. I laid it out. The priority comment. The trainer, the hotel, the note. My documentation so far. Karen took notes, nodding occasionally. You've been smart about this, she said when I finished. A lot of people come in here emotional, no evidence, just accusations. You've got a foundation. What's my next move? Legally, file for separation if you want out. But if you're looking to protect your assets and come out of this clean, you need more. More evidence, more documentation, especially if she fights back. She will, I said. She thinks she's smarter than me. Then prove her wrong. Karen leaned forward. But Tom, be careful. Don't do anything illegal. No hacking her phone, no recording without consent in private places, nothing that'll come back on you. Understood. And one more thing, she said. If you're serious about ending this marriage, prepare for it to get ugly. People don't like being exposed. I met her eyes. I'm counting on ugly. That week, I started making changes. Small ones, invisible ones. I opened a new credit card in just my name. started having my mail sent to Claire's address, changed passwords on my personal accounts, built walls Emily wouldn't notice until she crashed into them. At home, I played the part of the oblivious husband. I asked about her day, smiled at appropriate times, gave her no reason to suspect I knew anything. She, meanwhile, got bolder. Thursday night, she announced another work trip. Friday through Sunday this time. Big conference? I asked. Yeah, huge. All the regional planners will be there. Sounds important. It is. She was packing her bag on our bed, barely looking at me. You'll be okay here alone? I think I can manage. Friday afternoon, after Emily left, I made another call to Dave's hotel connection. Sure enough, Emily and Brent were at the Grandview again. Same pattern, different weekend. This time, I had a plan. Saturday morning, I drove downtown and parked across the street from the hotel. It was a nice place. Modern glass exterior, valet parking, the kind of spot that cost $400 a night minimum. I wondered if Emily was expensing it to her company or if Brent was paying. Either way, it was bold. Around 11, they emerged. Emily in workout clothes and sunglasses, Brent in designer jeans and a leather jacket. They looked like a catalog couple, laughing about something as they got into his Audi. I followed at a distance. They went to brunch at an upscale cafe in the Arts District. Sat outside, very visible, very comfortable, like they weren't even trying to hide anymore. I parked down the block and watched through my phone camera, zooming in enough to get clear photos of them holding hands across the table. After brunch, they walked around the district, went into a few galleries, stopped for coffee. The whole time, they were touchy. His hand on her lower back. Her arm looped through his. At one point, he kissed her outside a boutique, and she smiled up at him like he'd hung the moon. I took 37 photos that day. Cataloged them all with timestamps. Sunday morning, I was back. Watched them check out together, load into his car, drive back to our suburban area. Brent dropped Emily off 3 blocks from our house. Smart enough not to pull into the driveway, but dumb enough to think 3 blocks mattered. When Emily walked in, I was on the couch watching football. Hey, she said, surprised. I thought you'd be at the warehouse. Slow day. How was the conference? Exhausting. She dropped her bag. I need a nap. I bet. She went upstairs. I waited until I heard the bedroom door close, then went outside and checked her car. Found a receipt wedged in the passenger seat. Dinner at an expensive steakhouse downtown. 2 steaks, 2 drinks, dessert. Total, $318. I took a photo of that, too. That week, I scheduled a follow-up with Karen Mitchell and brought everything. The photos, the receipts, the hotel confirmations, the note. She spread them across her desk, examining each one. This is good work, Tom. Very thorough. Is it enough? For what? For separation? Absolutely. For making sure you get a fair shake in division? Yes. But what exactly are you after here? I want her to understand consequences, I said. She thinks she can have both, me as the stable provider and him as the exciting affair. I want her to lose both. Karen sat back. Revenge is expensive, Tom. Emotionally and financially. Are you sure? Completely. All right. She pulled out a legal pad. Here's what we do. Over the next hour, Karen outlined a strategy. File for separation, citing irreconcilable differences. Don't mention the affair publicly yet. That comes later when it'll have maximum impact. Start separating finances legally. Document everything. Build an airtight case. And one more thing, Karen said. Find out who Brent really is. People who cheat with married women aren't usually prize winners themselves. That became my next project. Dave came through again. His cousin worked at a gym downtown, the fancy kind with juice bars and personal saunas. I asked if they had a trainer named Brent Patterson. Oh yeah, Dave's cousin said. Brent's here. Why? Just curious about his rates. My wife's been using him. He's pricey, but word around here is he's got some financial issues. Lost a bunch in crypto, I think. Been hustling hard for new clients. Interesting. He married? Nah, but he's got a girlfriend. She comes in sometimes. Blonde, real fit. They've been together like 2 years. I felt something click into place. This girlfriend got a name? Amanda something? She's an accountant, I think. I thanked him and hung up, mind racing. Brent had a girlfriend, which meant Emily wasn't his only side situation. She was one of multiple plays. And if Brent was in financial trouble, that explained the expensive lifestyle. He was performing success, not living it. Finding Amanda was easier than expected. Social media made everything simple. Brent's profile was public, and there she was in his photos. Amanda Hayes, smiling in workout clothes, hiking pictures, couple shots at restaurants. They looked happy, committed. She had no idea her boyfriend was checking into hotels with my wife. I created a burner email account and crafted a message carefully. Hi, Amanda. We haven't met, but I think we should talk about someone we both know. Coffee, it's important. She responded the next morning. Who is this? Someone who recently discovered what Brent does on his conference weekends. If you care about truth, meet me Wednesday at the Riverside Cafe, noon. If not, delete this and we'll never speak again. Long pause. Then, I'll be there. Wednesday came. I got to Riverside Cafe early, picked a corner table with a view of the door. Amanda arrived at 12 sharp, looking cautious and professional in office clothes. Tom? She asked, approaching. That's me, thanks for coming. She sat down slowly. What's this about? I slid my phone across the table, photos already pulled up. This is about Brent spending weekends at the Grandview Hotel with my wife. Amanda's face went pale as she scrolled through the images. Her hands started shaking. When were these taken? Last weekend, but it's been going on for at least 2 months that I can prove. Your wife. She looked up at me. Emily? You know her? He mentions her sometimes, said she's a client who's unhappy in her marriage. Amanda laughed bitterly. He made it sound like she needed saving. She needed something, I said, but not saving. We talked for an hour. Amanda told me about Brent's mounting debts, his expensive tastes, his habit of targeting wealthy female clients. I thought I was different, she said quietly. I thought we were building something real. We both did, I said. By the end of coffee, we had an understanding. Amanda wasn't interested in revenge. She just wanted out with her dignity intact. But she agreed to one thing. When the time came, she'd confirm what she knew about Brent and Emily. Why are you doing this? She asked as we stood to leave. My wife told me marriage wasn't her priority, I said. I'm just showing her what that choice looks like from the other side. Amanda nodded slowly. Make it hurt. Planning on it. That weekend, Emily announced another trip. This time she didn't even pretend it was work-related. Girls' weekend, she said. Jessica and Trish and I are going to a spa resort upstate. Sounds relaxing. It will be. I need some time away. From what? She looked at me, irritated. From stress, Tom. From routine. Is that allowed? Of course. You should prioritize yourself. Something in my tone made her pause, but she couldn't pin down what. I'll be back Monday. Take your time. After she left Friday afternoon, I did something I'd been planning for weeks. I called a locksmith. I need the locks changed on my house, I told him. How soon can you do it? Today, if you want. Emergency rate, though. That's fine. By evening, every lock was new. Front door, back door, garage. I had the only keys. Next, I called the finance company that held Emily's car loan. I need to discuss the vehicle registered under account number. I gave them the details. I'm the co-signer, and I'd like to explore my options. The representative was professional. Are you looking to transfer the loan, or... I'm considering voluntary repossession, I said. The primary borrower has been delinquent. Sir, our records show all payments current. Check again. I'm ceasing my contributions as co-signer effective immediately. She'll need to cover the full amount herself. There was typing. That could result in default if she can't maintain payments? That's her problem, I said. Finally, I made one more call. To Emily's parents. Her father, Richard, answered. Tom? Everything all right? Hi, Richard. I'm fine, but I need to talk to you and Carol about something serious. Can you come by the house tomorrow? Tomorrow? What's this about? I'd rather explain in person. It's about Emily. There was a heavy pause. She's not sick, is she? Not in the way you mean, I said, but I think you both need to hear this. We'll be there at 10. That night, I barely slept. Everything was in motion now, the machinery of consequence turning. Emily had no idea what was coming. She was at a spa resort, or maybe another hotel with Brent, living her priority life without a care. By Monday, she wouldn't recognize her world. Saturday morning at 10 sharp, Richard and Carol arrived. They looked worried, dressed casually but alert. I invited them in, offered coffee, tried to be normal. Tom, what's going on? Carol asked once we sat in the living room. You sounded serious. I am serious. I set down my cup. Emily's having an affair. Carol's hand went to her mouth. Richard's jaw tightened. Are you certain? Richard asked. I pulled out my phone and showed them. The photos from downtown, the hotel confirmations, the note, everything I'd collected over the past month. Carol started crying quietly. Richard just stared at the screen, his face hardening with each image. I'm so sorry, Carol whispered. Tom, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. Who is he? Richard asked, his voice flat. Personal trainer named Brent Patterson. They've been seeing each other for at least 2 months. And she doesn't know you know? Not yet. Richard looked at me carefully. What are you planning? I've filed for separation, changed the locks here, cut her off from accounts she's been using. On Monday, when she comes home, her key won't work, and her parents will be waiting with her things. Carol wiped her eyes. That's harsh, Tom. She told me marriage wasn't her priority, I said quietly. I'm just respecting her wishes. Richard stood and paced to the window. She's our daughter. We love her. But this... He turned back. This is indefensible. I'm not asking you to choose sides, I said. I just wanted you to know the truth before Emily spins it her way. We appreciate that, Carol said. What do you need from us? Just be here Monday. She'll need somewhere to go. They agreed. We spent another hour talking through details, logistics, the painful reality of a marriage ending. By the time they left, Carol was composed again, and Richard looked grimly determined. You're a good man, Tom, Richard said at the door. Better than she deserved, apparently. Sunday, I packed Emily's things. Clothes, shoes, makeup, personal items. Everything went into suitcases and boxes, neat and organized. I wasn't trying to be cruel, just efficient. This was a transaction now, not a relationship. Dave came over to help. This is really happening, he said, carrying boxes downstairs. Yeah. How do you feel? Honestly? Relieved. I taped up another box. It's like I've been holding my breath for months, and I can finally exhale. Think she'll freak out? Guaranteed, but that's not my problem anymore. Monday morning arrived cold and gray. Richard and Carol came at 9, helped me arrange Emily's belongings in the driveway. Suitcases, boxes, everything she'd need to start over. It looked like a garage sale, except nothing was for sale. Emily's flight back from her fake girls' weekend landed at noon. She'd be home by 1. At 12:45, I got a text from her. Landing soon. Can't wait to sleep in my own bed. I didn't respond. At 1:15, a car pulled into the driveway. Emily got out, looking confused at the sight of her parents' car already there, then more confused when she saw the boxes. She walked to the front door and tried her key. It didn't turn. She tried again, then looked back at the driveway where Richard, Carol, and I stood waiting. What's going on? Emily asked, walking toward us. Why doesn't my key work? Because it's not your house anymore, I said. She stopped. Excuse me? I've filed for separation. Your belongings are here. Your parents are here to help you move them. Emily looked at her parents. Is this a joke? It's not a joke, honey, Carol said quietly. Tom, what the hell? Emily turned back to me, anger replacing confusion. You can't just lock me out of my own house. It's not your house. It's my house. Purchased before we married, titled in my name. Check the deed. That was true. I'd bought the house 3 years before we met, and we'd never bothered retitling it. An oversight on her part that was now my advantage. You're insane, Emily said. I'm calling the police. Go ahead. I've already spoken to a lawyer. You have no legal right to be here. She pulled out her phone, started dialing, then stopped. Why are you doing this? Really? I pulled out my phone and showed her the photos. Her and Brent downtown, at the hotel, walking hand in hand. You want to explain these? Emily's face went through several colors. That's not... You were spying on me. I was documenting my wife's affair. There's a difference. Oh my God. She looked at her parents. Did you know about this? We know now, Richard said, his voice hard. And we're disappointed beyond words. Emily's eyes filled with tears. Dad, it's not what it looks like. It looks like you're betraying your husband, Richard said. What else could it be? She started crying then, real sobs, the kind that come when you realize you've lost control of the narrative. Tom, please, we can talk about this. We're done talking. You made your priorities clear, now I'm making mine clear. This is crazy. She wiped her face angrily. You can't just throw me out. I'm not throwing you out. I'm removing you from a situation you clearly don't want to be in. You said marriage wasn't your priority, Emily. Congratulations. Now it's not mine either. Carol stepped forward. Emily, honey, let's go. You can stay with us while you figure things out. I don't want to figure things out, Emily shouted. This is my home. Not anymore, I said flatly. We stood there in the driveway, the four of us, while Emily cried and raged and finally, slowly, accepted that this was happening. Richard and Carol loaded her things into their car, trip after trip, while Emily sat on the curb with her head in her hands. Before they left, Emily stood and faced me one more time. "I hate you," she said. "I know. You're going to regret this." "I doubt it. Brent and I are in love. This isn't just some fling." "Then I guess everything worked out," I said. "You got your priority. I hope it keeps you warm." They drove away. I stood in the driveway for a long time after they left, watching the space where Emily's car had been. The space was empty now. So was the house. So was I, in a way. But empty felt better than erased. The next morning, I went to work like normal. Word had spread somehow. Warehouse gossip moved faster than inventory, and several coworkers offered awkward condolences. "Heard you and the wife split," one said. "Yeah. Sorry, man." "Don't be. It needed to happen." Dave pulled me aside during lunch. "How'd it go yesterday?" "She freaked. Her parents took her. That's done." "Good." He hesitated. "You okay, though?" "Getting there." That afternoon, I got a text from an unknown number. "This is Amanda. Brent knows. He's angry." I called her back. "What happened?" Emily told him everything, about you kicking her out, the separation, all of it. He's talking about confronting you. "Let him." "Tom, he's not stable. When I tried to talk to him about us, he got aggressive. I'm worried he'll do something stupid." "Where are you now?" "At work. But I'm scared to go home." "Do you have somewhere else you can stay?" "My sister's place, maybe." "Go there. Stay away from him until this settles." "What are you going to do?" "Handle it," I said. That evening, I was in my truck outside the warehouse when Brent's Audi pulled up. He got out fast, slamming the door, and stormed toward me. I stepped out to meet him. "You think you're tough?" Brent shouted, getting in my face. "Humiliating her like that?" "I didn't humiliate anyone. She did that herself." "You set her up. Had her parents ambush her." "I showed her the consequences of her choices." "Not the same thing." Brent shoved me. I stepped back but didn't swing. Not yet. "You're pathetic," he said. "She told me about you, how boring you are, how you have no life." "And yet she married me," I said calmly. "What's that say about you?" His face went red. He swung at me, wild and angry. I saw it coming, ducked, and his fist hit air. He stumbled, caught himself. Came at me again. This time I didn't dodge. I caught his arm, twisted, and used his momentum to take him down. He hit the pavement hard, and I put a knee on his back. "Listen carefully," I said, close to his ear. "Emily's not my problem anymore, and you're about to not be hers either. Stay away from me, stay away from my property, or next time I call the police. Get off me." I let him up. He scrambled to his feet, breathing hard, humiliated. "This isn't over." "Yeah, it is." He got back in his Audi and peeled out, leaving tire marks on the asphalt. Dave came running over from where he'd been watching. "Holy hell," Dave said. "You okay?" "Fine. He's all show." Still, that was stupid of him. Desperation makes people stupid. The next day, Emily started calling. 15 times before noon. I didn't answer. She left voicemails, each one angrier than the last. "You can't do this to me, Tom. I need access to the house. You're going to pay for this. Brent says you attacked him." That last one made me laugh. I texted her once. "Don't contact me again. All communication goes through my lawyer." She called anyway. I blocked her number. Friday night, I met Karen Mitchell at her office. She reviewed everything that had happened since Monday. "You handled the confrontation well," she said. "No assault charges will stick when it's on warehouse property with cameras and witnesses." "That's what I figured." "But we need to talk about Emily's lawyer. She's hired someone." "Expected." "He's going to argue abandonment, that you locked her out without warning. She was having an affair." "Which we'll prove. But Tom, this is going to get messy. She's claiming you're being vindictive." "I'm being thorough." Karen smiled slightly. "Fair enough. Here's what's next. She'll want alimony. We'll counter with evidence of infidelity and her own income. She'll want the house. We'll prove it was never hers. She'll drag this out as long as possible." "How long are we talking?" "Months, probably. Maybe a year." I nodded. "I've got time." That weekend, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went out. Not to a bar or club, just to a coffee shop downtown. Sat outside with a book, watched people walk by, remembered what it felt like to exist without constantly monitoring someone else's mood. A woman at the next table smiled at me. "Good book? Getting there." "I've been meaning to read that one." We talked for 20 minutes. Nothing deep, just pleasant conversation. Her name was Lisa. She was a teacher. Divorced 2 years ago. She didn't ask about my story, and I didn't offer it. When I left, she said, "Maybe I'll see you here again?" "Maybe," I said. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in months. The house was quiet, clean, mine. I made dinner, watched a movie, went to bed at a reasonable hour. It was ordinary and simple and exactly what I needed. Monday morning, I got a call from Dave. "You need to see this." "See what?" "Check your email. Someone sent something to the warehouse general inbox about Emily and Brent." I opened my laptop. There it was, an email from an anonymous account, sent to half a dozen people at my work, CCing Emily's company email and several of her coworkers. The subject line, "The real story about Emily Wright." The body contained everything, photos of her and Brent, hotel receipts, screenshots of text messages someone had pulled, probably Amanda, a detailed timeline of the affair. "Who sent this?" I asked Dave. "No idea, but Tom, everyone's seen it." Everyone and everyone. I sat back, processing. This wasn't my doing. I'd kept everything quiet, legal, controlled. Someone else had gone nuclear. My phone rang. "Emily," I answered. "What? You did this?" she screamed. "You sent that email." "I didn't." "Liar! Everyone at my office knows. Everyone at your work. I'm ruined." "Emily, I didn't send anything. But honestly, you did this to yourself. My boss called me into his office. They're investigating whether I misused company resources for personal travel." "Did you?" Silence. "That's what I thought," I said. "I'm going to sue you for defamation." Sue whoever sent the email. It wasn't me. I hung up, immediately called Karen Mitchell. "I heard," she said when she answered. "Half the town's talking about it." "It wasn't me." "I believe you. But Tom, this actually helps us." "How?" "Public record now. Everything in that email is documented. She can't claim the affair didn't happen or wasn't serious. This locks her into a position. She thinks I'm behind it. Let her think that. Meanwhile, her credibility is gone." That afternoon, Amanda called. "I'm sorry," she said immediately. "You sent it." "I had to. After Brent came after you, after he threatened me when I tried to leave him. I just wanted everyone to know what kind of person he really is." "You didn't have to drag me into it." "I know, but Tom, they deserved this. Both of them." I couldn't argue with that. "What's Brent saying?" "He's freaking out. His gym fired him. Apparently several clients complained once they saw the email. His reputation's destroyed." "And Emily?" "From what I hear, she's staying with her parents and refusing to come out." We talked for a few more minutes, then hung up. I sat in my truck outside the warehouse, watching the sunset, thinking about how fast things could unravel. Emily had built this careful image, successful, ambitious, in control. Now everyone knew the truth. She'd wanted priorities. Turns out consequences have their own priority system. Wednesday, Emily's lawyer contacted Karen with a settlement offer. Emily would give up claims to the house if I agreed to pay her $20,000 and cover her legal fees. "Absolutely not," I told Karen. "We can counter." "Counter with nothing. She gets nothing." "Tom, a judge might—" "Let them try. I've got proof of her affair, proof she was misusing joint funds, proof she checked into hotels on company time. If she wants to go to court, we'll go to court." Karen was quiet for a moment. "All right. I'll tell them no deal." Thursday afternoon, Richard called me. "Tom, can we meet?" "Sure. When?" "Tonight, if possible. Neutral ground." We met at a diner off the highway. Richard looked tired, older than I remembered. He ordered coffee and got straight to it. "Emily's a wreck," he said. "She won't eat, barely sleeps. Carol's worried sick." "I'm sorry to hear that." "Are you?" I met his eyes. "Richard, I didn't want this. I wanted a marriage. She chose something else." "I know." He rubbed his face. "I've seen the photos. Read the timeline. I know what she did." "Then why are we meeting?" "Because she's still my daughter, and I'm asking you as a father to consider mercy." "Mercy how?" "Drop the separation. Work it out. People make mistakes." I sat back. "This wasn't a mistake, Richard. This was a choice. A series of choices over months. She told me to my face that marriage wasn't her priority. She was confused. She was honest, maybe for the first time in years." Richard looked down at his coffee. "What do you want me to say?" "I don't want you to say anything. I want you to accept that your daughter broke something that can't be fixed." "Everything can be fixed." "Not this." I stood, dropped cash on the table. "I'm sorry, Richard, but Emily made her choice. Now she lives with it." I walked out, leaving him sitting there. It wasn't satisfying, it wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Friday, Dave pulled me aside at work. There's something you should know. What now? Brent's been talking, telling people you sabotaged him, that the email was a setup. Let him talk. Tom, he's not stable. I'm serious. He showed up at the gym yesterday trying to get his job back, made a scene, security had to remove him. That's his problem. What if he comes after you again? Then I'll handle it again. But Dave's concern stuck with me. That evening, I installed security cameras around my house. Front door, back door, driveway. If Brent or anyone else wanted to try something, I'd have evidence. Saturday morning, I woke to my phone buzzing. Multiple texts from numbers I didn't recognize. Saw what your wife did. Sorry, man. You deserve better. Emily always seemed fake. Now we know. Small-town gossip moved fast. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone wanted to share it. I ignored most of them. Made coffee, went for a run, tried to maintain some normalcy. When I got back, there was a car in my driveway. Emily's car. I approached carefully. She was sitting in the driver's seat, crying. When she saw me, she got out. Tom, please, she said. We need to talk. No, we don't. 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking. I looked at her. Really looked. Her eyes were red, makeup smeared. She'd lost weight. The confident woman who told me I wasn't her priority was gone, replaced by someone desperate and broken. 5 minutes, I said. We stood in the driveway, 2 feet apart, worlds between us. I made a mistake, Emily said. A huge mistake. I see that now. Okay. Brent. He wasn't what I thought. He used me, lied to me. I was stupid. You were. But Tom, we can fix this. We can go to counseling, work through it, rebuild. No. She blinked. What? No, we can't. You don't want to fix this, Emily. You want to undo consequences. That's different. I love you. You don't. You love security. You love the life we had. But you don't love me. If you did, none of this would have happened. That's not fair. Fair? I almost laughed. You spent months with another man, lied to my face, told me I wasn't your priority. And now, because it blew up in your face, you want me to forget all of that? I'm asking for forgiveness. I know, and I'm saying no. Emily's face crumpled. Please, Tom, I'm begging you. You should have begged Brent to be honest. You should have begged yourself to be a decent person. But you don't get to beg me to fix what you destroyed. I have nothing without you. Then you should have thought of that before you checked into hotel rooms with your trainer. She stood there, tears streaming, and I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, just tired finality. Your 5 minutes are up, I said. Leave. Tom? Leave, Emily. Don't come back. We're done. She got in her car, sobbing, and drove away. I watched her disappear around the corner, then went inside and locked the door. That night, I got a call from Amanda. Brent's gone, she said. Gone where? Just gone. Packed up his apartment, left town. He sent me one text. I'm starting over somewhere else. Good riddance. Emily's been trying to reach him. He blocked her. I couldn't help it. I smiled. Poetic. Tom, thank you for showing me the truth. You would have figured it out eventually. Maybe, but you accelerated it. Now I can actually move on. After we hung up, I poured a drink and sat on my back porch. The night was clear, stars visible despite the suburban light. Somewhere, Emily was realizing Brent had abandoned her. Somewhere, Brent was running from the consequences of his own choices. And I was here, alone but free. 2 weeks passed. The gossip died down to murmurs. Emily stopped calling. Her lawyer sent one more settlement offer, even more desperate than the first. Karen rejected it. We're going to trial, Karen told me. Emily's pushing for alimony and asset division. Her lawyer thinks you'll cave to avoid court. Then let's go to court. You're sure? Completely. The trial date was set for 6 weeks out. In the meantime, I rebuilt, changed the house paint, bought new furniture, erased every trace of Emily from my space. Dave came over one Saturday to help move a couch. You're really doing it, he said. Complete reset? Has to be done? Heard Emily's not doing well. Not my concern. Cold, man. Realistic. That evening I went back to the coffee shop downtown. Lisa was there again, same table, different book. Hey, she said, smiling. You came back? Apparently. How's your week been? Complicated. She nodded knowingly. Life has a way of being that. We talked for an hour. This time I told her a little about the separation. Not the details, just the broad strokes. She listened without judgment. My divorce was ugly too, she said. Took me a year to feel normal again. How long has it been? 2 years, and I'm mostly there. Mostly? She smiled. Some days are harder than others, but I'm better now than I was. That's encouraging. It gets easier, Tom. Not fast, but it does. When I left, she gave me her number. If you ever want to talk, or just get coffee without running into each other accidentally. I saved it in my phone. The next day, Sunday, I got a call from Richard. Tom, I need to ask you something. Go ahead. What would it take for you to drop this? The separation, the trial, all of it. Richard, name a number. 10,000, 20? I'll write the check today. It's not about money. Then what is it about? Principle. I sat down on my couch. Your daughter told me I wasn't her priority. Then she proved it by having an affair. Now she wants me to pretend none of that happened because it's inconvenient for her. I'm not doing that. She's suffering, Tom. So was I. For months. While she lied and cheated and made me feel invisible in my own marriage. Where was your concern then? Silence. Exactly, I said. Richard, I respect you, but Emily's an adult. She made choices. Now she faces consequences. That's life. You're ruining her. No, she ruined herself. I'm just not cleaning up the mess. He hung up without saying anything else. I felt bad for him. He was a good man caught between love for his daughter and recognition of what she'd done. But my sympathy only went so far. 3 weeks before the trial, Emily's lawyer withdrew. Turns out she couldn't pay his fees, and he wasn't interested in working on contingency for a case he'd probably lose. She got a new lawyer, cheaper, less experienced. Karen smiled when she heard. We've already won, Karen said. They're scrambling. Don't get overconfident. I'm not. But Tom, they have no ground to stand on. Infidelity is documented. The house is yours. She has her own income. Unless she pulls something unexpected, she's getting nothing. What could she pull? False claims? Unlikely given the evidence. And sympathy play? Maybe, but judges see through that. I think she's just hoping you'll settle to avoid trial. Not happening. The weeks crawled by. I worked, ran, read, had coffee with Lisa twice more. Life continued, quieter but steadier than it had been in years. Then, 1 week before trial, Emily showed up at the warehouse. Security called me. Tom, there's a woman here asking for you. Says she's your wife. Tell her I'm not available. She's insisting, making a scene. I sighed. I'll come down. Emily was in the lobby, arguing with the security guard. She looked worse than last time, thinner, pale, exhausted. Tom, she said when she saw me. Finally. You can't be here, Emily? I need to talk to you. We have lawyers for that. Hey, please. She grabbed my arm. 5 minutes, outside. Against my better judgment, I walked outside with her. We stood by her car, a different car, older, I noticed. Probably couldn't afford the payments on the other one. What do you want? I asked. I want to apologize, really apologize. Not because of the trial or money, because I'm genuinely sorry for what I did. I crossed my arms. Okay. I was selfish, cruel. I took you for granted and threw away something good because I thought I deserved better. But there is no better. Brent was a con artist. My friends were toxic. I was toxic. And now I've lost everything. You're looking for forgiveness. I'm looking for you to know I understand what I did, and that if I could go back, I'd change everything. But you can't go back. No. She wiped her eyes. I can't. We stood there in the warehouse parking lot, the midday sun beating down, and I felt something shift. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, just closure. I appreciate the apology, I said. I do, but it doesn't change anything. I know. The trial's next week. You should prepare for that. I am. My lawyer says I'll probably lose. Probably, she laughed bitterly. You must be happy. I'm not happy, Emily. I'm just done. That's worse, isn't it? If you were angry, at least I'd matter enough to make you feel something. Maybe. She got in her car. Before she closed the door, she looked up at me. For what it's worth, you deserved better than me. I know, I said. She drove away. I watched her go, then went back to work. The trial was anticlimactic. 2 days of testimony, evidence presentation, legal arguments. Emily's lawyer tried to paint me as vindictive. Karen systematically dismantled that narrative with photos, receipts, timeline, witnesses. On the stand, Emily admitted to the affair, admitted to the lies. Her lawyer tried to frame it as a mistake born from an unhappy marriage, but Karen countered with my evidence of trying to engage, of being shut out, of Emily's own words about priorities. The judge, a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes, listened to everything without expression. On the third day, she delivered her ruling. Marriage requires mutual commitment and honesty, she said. The evidence clearly shows Mrs. Wright violated both. The house remains Mr. Wright's sole property. No alimony is awarded given Mrs. Wright's employment and the circumstances of marital breakdown. Assets will be divided according to documented contribution, which heavily favors Mr. Wright. Court costs will be split equally. Emily sat motionless in her chair. Her lawyer made notes. I felt nothing but relief. Outside the courthouse, Karen shook my hand. Congratulations, clean break. Thank you for everything. You did the hard part. I just presented it well. Emily walked out with her lawyer, saw me, and stopped. For a moment I thought she'd say something, but she just nodded once, got in her old car, and drove away. That was the last time I saw her. 6 months later, I sold the house. Too many memories, too much history. I bought a smaller place closer to work, modern and clean, and entirely mine. Dave helped me move in. New chapter, he said, carrying boxes. Something like that. You seeing that teacher? Lisa? We've gone out a few times, nothing serious yet. But maybe? Maybe. That evening, after Dave left, I stood in my new living room surrounded by boxes and thought about everything that had happened. Emily had wanted priorities. She'd gotten them. So had I. The difference was I'd chosen priorities that didn't destroy people. My phone buzzed. A text from Lisa. How's the new place? I typed back. Empty but promising. Want to come see it? Tomorrow, I'll bring wine. Deal. I set my phone down and started unpacking. The past was done. The future was unclear, but right now, in this moment, I was free. And that was enough. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone else. It's about refusing to let them destroy you. Emily had tried to make me invisible, to erase me while keeping all the benefits of our marriage. Instead, I'd shown her what it really meant to lose someone. She'd wanted to be free of commitment while keeping security. She'd wanted excitement without consequences. She'd wanted to have everything while giving nothing. In the end, she got exactly what she'd asked for. A life where I wasn't her priority. She just hadn't realized that meant I wouldn't be there at all. I thought about texting her once, months after everything settled, just to see how she was doing. But I didn't. Not out of cruelty, but out of understanding. We were finished. Truly finished. And reaching back would only reopen wounds that were finally healing. Richard called me one last time, about a year after the trial. Tom, I just wanted you to know Emily's doing better. She got help, therapy, she's working on herself. That's good, I said, and I meant it. She asks about you sometimes. Richard, I hope she finds happiness, really. But that happiness isn't going to involve me. I understand. He paused. You know, I always liked you. Still do. You handled this with more grace than I would have. I just handled it, period. After we hung up, I deleted his number. Not from anger, but from necessity. That chapter was closed. Lisa and I got serious eventually. Moved in together after a year. She understood what I'd been through because she'd been through her own version. We built something new, something honest, something where priorities were shared instead of weaponized. Sometimes I'd see someone who looked like Emily from a distance, same hair, same build, and I'd feel a momentary jolt. But it always faded. She was part of my past, not my present. A lesson learned, not a wound still bleeding. Dave asked me once if I regretted how it ended. Do you ever wish you'd tried harder? Fought for the marriage? No, I said. You can't fight for something when only one person's in the ring. Emily checked out long before I did. I just made it official. Cold truth. Only kind there is. Life moved forward. That's what it does. The warehouse promoted me to regional manager. Lisa got a teaching award. We adopted a dog, a rescue mutt named Cooper, who had separation anxiety and too much energy and made us laugh every day. One evening, sitting on our porch while Cooper chased shadows in the yard, Lisa turned to me. Do you think about her? Emily, sometimes? What do you think? I think I got lucky. Not because the marriage ended, but because it ended when it did. Before kids, before more years wasted, before I forgot who I was. Do you hate her? No, I just don't care anymore. And that's better than hate. Lisa squeezed my hand. I'm glad you don't care. It means there's space for things that matter. Like what? Like us. Like Cooper. Like this. She gestured at the porch, the yard, the simple evening quiet. Like building something real instead of performing something fake. She was right. Emily and I had been performing for years, playing roles in a marriage that looked good from outside but was hollow inside. With Lisa, there was no performance, just presence. That night, before bed, I threw away the last box of old photos from my previous life. Not dramatically, not ceremonially. I just put them in the trash while taking out the garbage, and that was that. The next morning was Saturday. Lisa made pancakes. Cooper begged for scraps. The sun came through the kitchen window at an angle that made everything look clean and new. "What should we do today?" Lisa asked. "Whatever we want," I said. "We've got no priorities except each other." She smiled. I like that plan. And somewhere, in some other part of town or maybe another city entirely, Emily was living her own life, learning her own lessons, facing her own consequences. But that was her story now, not mine. Mine was here, in this kitchen, with this woman, with this dog, with this quiet Saturday morning that held no betrayals, no lies, no priorities that excluded the people who mattered. It had taken losing everything to understand what I'd really needed all along. Not someone who kept me on a list, but someone who understood that love isn't about lists at all. Emily had taught me that lesson the hard way. I'd learned it well.